They thought they were stopping a threat, but they almost destroyed a life. Watch what happens when truth walks into a room full of judgment. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Black Inside USA for more real emotional war stories that touch your heart. In a world where stories speak louder than words, this is Black Inside USA. Real emotions, real people, real change. The restaurant sat on the top floor of the Harrington Tower, 70 floors above the heart of Chicago. Glass walls surrounded the Sky Lounge, reflecting sunlight off tall crystal glasses and polished silver forks. The air smelled of baked bread, roasted garlic, and money. Every table was filled with executives, investors, and people who believed they ruled the world. At one table sat Maya Harrington, the newly appointed CEO of Harrington Aerospace, one of the biggest aviation firms in the country. Her short brown hair framed a calm but firm face, the kind that had learned to smile through storms. This was her first official lunch meeting as CEO. Everything had to be perfect. Her assistant had just whispered, "Ma'am, the board is waiting for your post-lunch briefing," when she looked at her plate, a pepperoni pizza she hadn't even touched. She smiled softly. Her son loved pizza. At that very moment, in the marble-floored lobby downstairs, Eli Harrington, her 10-year-old son, stood holding a small brown gift box. He wore a crisp shirt, a maroon vest, and a tie too big for his neck. Inside the box was a tiny airplane model, something he had built himself, gluing every piece for 3 days straight. It was his mother's favorite kind, the model she used to fly as a test pilot years ago. "Mom's first big day," he whispered. "I'll surprise her." He smiled at the receptionist and asked shyly, "Excuse me, can I go up to the Sky Lounge?" "My mom's there. Her name is Maya Harrington." The receptionist smiled politely at first, but when she checked the guest list and didn't see his name, her expression changed. "I'm sorry, young man. Only listed guests can go upstairs." Eli tried again, "But I'm her son. I came to surprise her." The receptionist frowned. She had seen many kids play pranks in corporate buildings before. She waved toward security. "Sir, can you assist this boy? He's not cleared for the upper floor." A tall, muscular security guard approached, his black uniform spotless, his tone firm but cold. "Hey, kid, you can't just walk into a CEO's lunch meeting. Let's get your parents on the phone." "But she is my parent," Eli protested, his small voice echoing in the lobby. The guard chuckled. "Right, and I'm the president." He took Eli gently but firmly by the shoulder, guiding him toward a side area. But Eli pulled free and started toward the elevator. "I just want to see my mom." The security guard's radio crackled. "Possible intruder heading to executive floor, small child, no ID." Upstairs, the Sky Lounge buzzed with conversation. Investors toasted too, a new era of leadership, while Maya gave polite smiles, her thoughts still drifting to her son. Suddenly, the elevator door opened with a soft ding. Out stepped Eli, clutching his small box tightly. "Mama," he called out. Heads turned. Waiters froze. The head of security, standing near the glass entrance, narrowed his eyes. No one recognized the boy, and the room fell silent. "Who was that?" one board member whispered. Before Maya could stand, a group of armed corporate security officers rushed in, responding to the mistaken radio call. Their boots echoed against marble. Two of them drew their sidearms, standard protocol for unidentified intruders. "Hands up," one barked. Eli froze. His little hands trembled, the gift box nearly slipping from his grip. He raised them slowly, his eyes wide with confusion. The restaurant gasped. A woman screamed. Maya stood so fast her chair toppled. "What are you doing?" "That's my son." But the officers didn't lower their weapons. "Ma'am, step back, please." "No," she shouted, her voice cracking. "That's my son." Eli's eyes brimmed with tears. "Mommy," his voice trembled, "I just wanted to give you this." The box slipped from his fingers and hit the floor, the lid popping open. The small handmade airplane rolled out, a delicate creation of glue, wire, and love. One of the guards looked down at it, realization dawning too late. The boy wasn't a threat. He was just a child who loved his mother. The silence in the room was deafening. Maya dropped to her knees beside the fallen gift, her shaking hands picking up the broken model. Her heart pounded so loud she could barely hear her own voice. "You pointed guns at my child." One of the officers holstered his weapon, face pale. "Ma'am, we received a false alarm. We thought." "You thought what?" she snapped, tears streaking down her face. "That a 10-year-old black boy in a vest was dangerous." The other diners looked away, ashamed. The waitress near the corner began to cry quietly. The restaurant manager hurried over, stammering apologies. "Ms. Harrington, we had no idea." "No," Maya interrupted, her tone icy and trembling. "You didn't want to know." She pulled Eli into her arms. His small body shook, his face buried against her shoulder. "Mommy, I didn't do anything wrong," he whispered. "I know, baby, I know." Her voice cracked with the weight of 1,000 unsaid words, years of knowing how easily people judged by skin, not soul. She stood, still holding him, and faced the guards. "Do you know what you just did? You taught my son to fear walking into a room meant for him. You made him feel like a stranger in his own mother's world." No one spoke. The head of security finally said, "Ma'am, we'll file a report and suspend." Maya cut him off, her tone steady now, her CEO voice taking over. "No, you'll hold a press conference." Later that afternoon, the building's media floor was filled with reporters. The story had spread faster than wildfire. CEO's son mistaken for intruder by her own security team. Maya stood before the podium, holding Eli's hand. His little airplane, now repaired with tape, rested on the table beside her. "My son came to surprise me today," she began softly. "But instead, he was made to feel unsafe, in my own company." The room went silent, cameras clicked. "I am not sharing this to shame anyone," she continued, "but to remind everyone watching that judgment can destroy lives, even when it wears a uniform. My son deserved a smile, not a weapon. He deserved to be welcomed, not feared." Her voice trembled, but her eyes stayed firm. "This is not just about a mistake. It's about a mindset that must change, starting here." She looked down at Eli, who managed a small, brave smile. That night, at home, Eli sat on the couch, his small plane on the coffee table. Maya came over, wrapping her arms around him. "I'm sorry you had to go through that," she whispered. He leaned into her. "It's okay, Mom, maybe they'll learn." She smiled faintly. "Maybe they will." He looked up. "Can I still come see you at work?" She hesitated, then nodded. "You can come anytime you want. Because this company, this world, belongs to kids like you too." Eli grinned. "Then I'll bring pizza next time." Maya laughed through her tears. "Deal." The city lights shimmered outside their window, bright, endless, and full of hope. The morning light spilled through the tall glass windows of the Harrington home. Maya stood at the kitchen counter, her coffee untouched, eyes fixed on the TV. Every channel showed the same headline: "Security draws weapons on CEO's son, company promises investigation." Clips of yesterday's press conference replayed on loop. Eli's small face appeared on screen, standing bravely beside her. She sighed deeply, proud of him, yet heartbroken that his childhood moment of love had turned into a national conversation. Her phone buzzed non-stop, reporters, partners, employees. Everyone wanted a statement, a reaction, an angle. But Maya didn't want noise. She wanted change. By mid-morning, Maya walked into the headquarters. The same lobby where Eli had been stopped now felt like a battlefield of stairs and silence. Employees froze when she entered. Some looked away, some nodded in quiet respect. Her assistant whispered, "The board is waiting for you in conference room A." When she entered, the tension was thick. The 12 members of the board, mostly older men in suits, exchanged uncomfortable glances. "Ms. Harrington," one began, clearing his throat, "we understand the incident yesterday caused public concern, but we advise handling it internally." "It's better not to." "Not to what?" Maya interrupted calmly. "Not to admit what really happened." Another member shifted uncomfortably. "It could damage investor confidence." Maya folded her arms. "You mean truth might hurt profits?" The room fell silent. She looked each one of them in the eye. "My son was treated like a threat because no one believed the little black boy could belong here. That's not a PR issue. That's a humanity issue." Her voice grew firmer. "And if this company can't stand for what's right, it doesn't deserve to stand at all." Meanwhile, across town, Eli sat at his school desk, doodling an airplane in his notebook. The classroom buzzed with whispers. "That's the boy from the news," someone muttered. Eli kept his head down. He wasn't angry, just tired. His teacher, Mrs. Cooper, a kind older woman, placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You're very brave, Eli. What you did helped a lot of people see what's wrong in this world." He looked up at her with serious eyes. "I didn't do anything, I just wanted to give my mom a gift." She smiled softly. "Sometimes, Eli, love is the strongest protest of all." Those words stayed with him all day. Late that afternoon, Maya received an unexpected message from the head of security, Mr. Dalton, the same man who had authorized the mistaken protocol. He asked to see her in person. Her instinct said no, but something in her heart said listen. When he entered her office, he looked 10 years older. His voice trembled slightly. "Ma'am, I came to apologize. To you, and to your son." Maya nodded, saying nothing. He took a breath. "I've been head of security for 15 years. I've stopped threats, saved lives. But yesterday," his voice cracked, "I saw the fear in that boy's eyes. I can't forget it. I don't want to." Maya's expression softened. "You didn't mean harm, Mr. Dalton, but harm still happened." He nodded. "I know. That's why I've resigned. But before I go, I want to start something. I spoke to my team. We want to begin training on bias awareness, communication, and empathy. For everyone, including me." Tears welled in her eyes. "That's the first right step," she whispered. He stood to leave, then turned back. "Ma'am, your son, he changed us more than you'll ever know." A week later, the company held a town hall meeting, broadcast across all offices and online. Thousands of employees logged in. Some expected anger, others expected silence. What they got was truth. Maya stood on the stage, microphone in hand, beside a large image projected on the screen, Eli's tiny paper airplane. "This," she began softly, "was what my son came to deliver to me. A handmade plane, a symbol of love, hope, and belonging." She paused, letting the silence speak. But instead, he was met with fear. And that fear, not from monsters, but from ordinary people, is what breaks hearts every day in this country. Her voice grew stronger. "So today, we're not hiding from this moment. We're rebuilding from it. Harrington Aerospace will launch a new program, Operation Horizon, a company-wide inclusion, empathy, and awareness initiative, starting with leadership and security." The audience began to applaud softly. She continued, "We will partner with schools, train our teams, and ensure no one, not a child, not an employee, not a guest, is ever made to feel they don't belong." Her words rang through the hall like a promise. And when she looked out at the crowd, she saw something beautiful, some people crying, others clapping, all of them united. That evening, news anchors across the country spoke about it. After last week's viral incident, CEO Maya Harrington turned a tragedy into transformation. Her company's new initiative, Operation Horizon, is being praised for addressing systemic bias in corporate America. Clips played of employees volunteering at community centers, security staff undergoing new empathy training, and Maya reading a heartfelt letter written by Eli. "Mom, you told me planes fly because someone believed they could. Maybe hearts can too." The anchor smiled as the clip ended. A lesson in love, from a little boy who just wanted to surprise his mom. 2 weeks later, Eli returned to his mother's office. This time, the lobby security team smiled and waved as he entered. "Hey, young man," one of them called. "Welcome back, Mr. Harrington Jr." Eli grinned shyly. "Thanks." When he reached the elevator, he pressed the button and looked up at the tall glass ceiling. Sunlight poured through, bright and warm. On the top floor, his mom was waiting, not as a CEO today, but simply as mom. She hugged him tightly. "You changed everything, you know that." He smiled. "I just made an airplane." She laughed softly. "No, sweetheart, you made people see." Months passed. Harrington Aerospace became a symbol of reform. Maya was invited to speak at universities, conferences, and community events. But her favorite speech was the one she gave at Eli's school assembly. She stood on stage, microphone in hand, while Eli watched proudly from the front row. "I was taught that leadership is about power," she began. "But my son taught me that leadership is about love. Because love sees beyond fear. Love corrects without hate. Love listens." She turned to the students. "You don't have to be grown-ups to make a difference. Sometimes, it's the smallest hands that build the biggest bridges." The audience erupted in applause. Some parents wiped tears. Eli smiled wider than ever. On a quiet Sunday morning, Maya and Eli stood at the airfield outside the city. She handed him a small remote-controlled airplane, a real, working version of the model he had once made. "Ready to fly it?" she asked. Eli nodded eagerly. Quote, "Thanks for watching Black Inside USA. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because every story deserves to be heard."